What's up, Reds? Welcome back to the channel where we talk all things Manchester United. And today, we have a big episode for you. We're talking about Ruben Amorim's rebuild of Manchester United. The summer transfer window is coming, players are leaving, new players are coming in, and we are about to see a whole new United next season. Stay tuned as we break down the outgoings, the exciting potential signings, and what Amorim's perfect Manchester United 11 could look like. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're ready for a new era at Old Trafford. Okay, so we're diving into something pretty big today. We are looking at how Manchester United could completely transform under Ruben Amorim with the coming summer transfer. And it all starts with this idea of, a massive squad overhaul. Basically clearing out a lot of the current players to make way for Amorim to actually really build his own team. Right from the get-go, it mentions some pretty big names already out the door. Marcus Rashford going to Aston Villa is described as a shocking move. Apparently, he struggled to fit in under Amorim and wanted a fresh start. I mean, that's got to send a message, right? It showed that Amorim's serious about building the team his way, even if it means letting go of big-name players. It also kind of suggests that maybe Rashford's style just didn't really mesh with what Amorim wants. Then there's Anthony going to Real Betis, after what they call a disappointing spell at United. And Tyrell Malaysia, back to PSV. Injuries really hampered his ability to thrive at United, so it's back to his roots for him. It seemed a bit like one could see all these coming. Yeah, those moves kind of make sense, given how things have been going for them. Anthony hasn't quite lived up to the expectations, and Malaysia's had some tough luck of injuries, so a fresh start might be good for both of them. But then it gets really interesting with the players who are likely to leave. Casemiro is described as being like a shadow of his Madrid self, and too slow for Amorim's high-energy system. It's interesting how quickly things can change in football. Casemiro is obviously a top player, but if Amorim wants this super fast-paced pressing style, then maybe his lack of speed is a problem. It shows how different managers value different things. Mason Mount is another one they mentioned, saying he's never found his feet, and with the potential arrival of Javi Simons would make things even tougher for him. It sounds like a mix of him not quite fitting in and the possibility of even more competition. Mount's time at United hasn't really gone as planned, and if they brought in someone like Javi Simons, who's, super dynamic and creative in that midfield area, well, that would definitely make it harder for Mount to get game time. Luke Shaw and Christian Eriksen are labelled injury-prone and unreliable, with Amorim needing consistency from his players. I mean, it's got to be tough, but I get it. He's trying to build a solid team. Consistency is so important when you're building a team. If you can't rely on your players to be available week in, week out, it makes it really hard to build any kind of momentum or rhythm. To wrap up this clear-out section, they mentioned Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof, calling them solid professionals, but not the future of the defence. It sounds like they're looking to get younger and build for the long term. Yeah, that's a pretty common move when a new manager comes in. They often want to bring in players who are going to be around for a while. So while Evans and Lindelof have been good servants to the club, it seems like Amorim wants to go in a different direction. They say Casemiro's past his prime, Anthony hasn't justified his price tag, and that maybe Rashford just needs a change of scenery. It's like they're clearing the decks for a whole new wave of players. It definitely seems that way. It's not just about tactics. It's about changing the whole makeup and the mentality of the squad. Sometimes a fresh start is what everyone needs, both the players and the club. So with all these potential departures, they're going to need some new faces. And the discussion focuses on players who would fit into Amorim's dynamic 3-4-3 system. For anyone who's not a tactical expert, what are the key things to look for in a 3-4-3 formation? Well, in a 3-4-3, you've got 3 centre-backs at the back, providing a solid base. And then you've got your wing-backs who need to be super athletic, good at defending, but also able to get forward and provide width and attack. The midfield usually has two central players who have to cover a lot of ground and be good both defensively and going forward. And then up front, you have three attackers who ideally can press, create chances, and score goals. Alright, that's helpful. So first up, they mention Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. They describe him as a versatile attacker, powerful and explosive, and a perfect wildcard option. What could someone like that bring to the system? Well, Semenyo sounds like he could add a lot of directness and unpredictability to the attack. His power and pace would be really useful for breaking down defences and exploiting space on the counter-attack. And the wildcard thing suggests he could bring something different, maybe a bit of flair or creativity that you don't always see. Then there's Javi Simons, the Dutch wonder kid who's currently on loan at RB Leipzig from PSG. They call him a creative playmaker with high energy, someone who would thrive under Amorim. Sounds like a real game changer? Yeah. Javi Simons is one of those players everyone's talking about. He's got incredible technical skills and a real knack for creating chances. And that high energy is perfect for a pressing system because he can win the ball back and then quickly turn defence into attack. Still in the Bundesliga, they talk about Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. He's described as a complete striker, young, tall, clinical, with the potential to be United's new number 9. That's a lot of expectation on a young player. It is, but Sesko's got a lot of potential. He's physically imposing, good in the air, and knows how to score goals. Those are all great qualities for a striker, and it sounds like they see him as someone who could lead the line for them for years to come. Next up is Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. They say he's pacey agile and a clinical finisher, another option for the attack. It seems like they're looking for a variety of different attacking players. It makes sense to have different options up front. Ekitike's pace and agility would make him a real threat running in behind defences and in one-on-one situations. So having him alongside other types of forwards would give Amorim a lot of flexibility depending on the opponent. And last but not least, there's Jonathan David from Lille, who's described as a goal machine, someone to bring in if they need serious firepower. His goal record speaks for itself. Jonathan David's been scoring goals for fun in League One, which is a tough league defensively. So if we just want someone who's guaranteed to put the ball in the net, then he'd be a great signing. Bringing him in alongside the other attacking players they're talking about would make for a seriously dangerous attack. Javi Simon is likely going to be a dream signing. They really like his youth, his skills, and how well he'd fit into Amorim's high pressing system. He seems like a top target. It's easy to see why they're so keen on Simons. He ticks a lot of boxes, young, talented, and perfect for that high-intensity style they're talking about. Overall, the transfer strategy they're outlining is all about bringing in young, dynamic, and aggressive players to compete with guys like Højlund. It's a clear philosophy. If we want to build a team with a really specific identity, one that's energetic, proactive, and always looking to press the opposition. And by focusing on young players, they're also thinking about the future. Alright, so we've talked about who might be leaving and who they might bring in. Now let's try and picture how this would all look on the pitch. The discussion lays out a potential dream starting 11, assuming all these transfers happen. This is Amorim's 3-4-3 formation. It's always exciting to see how these potential signings could actually fit into a team. It really brings the whole tactical vision to life. In goal, they've got Onana, no changes there, and they say that Amorim trusts him, so it seems like he's got the number 1 spot locked down. Having a reliable goalkeeper is so important, and it sounds like Amorim's happy with Onana, so it makes sense to keep him as the foundation of the defence. The back 3 they propose is Dillitz, Lisandro Martinez or Aiden Heaven, and Leno Yoro, Diogo Dalot as an inverted centre-back. For those who don't know, what exactly does it mean for a full-back like Dalot to play in that inverted role? So basically, an inverted full-back means that when the team has the ball, instead of staying out wide, Dalot would tuck inside and play more centrally, almost like an extra midfielder. This can help create overloads in midfield, give the team more passing options, and disrupt the opposition's shape. Defensively, he'd probably still drop back into a more traditional wide position. At the wings, they've got Alejandro Garnacho on the left and Jeremy Frimpong on the right, with Frimpong being a potential new signing. That's a lot of attacking firepower from the flanks. Oh yeah, both Garnacho and Frimpong are known for their speed, their dribbling and their attacking threat. In a 3-4-3, the wing-backs are crucial for getting forward and providing width so they can basically become extra attackers. Bringing in Frimpong would add a lot of pace and dynamism to that right side. In midfield, they've got Kobbie Mainoo alongside Javi Simons again, if they manage to sign him. That could be a really exciting partnership. What do you think their dynamic would be like? Well, Mainoo's shown a lot of maturity for his age. He's composed, good on the ball, and reads the game well. Pairing him with Simons, who's so creative and energetic, could create a really balanced midfield. You could see Simons being the more attacking one, looking to make things happen, while Mainoo provides a bit more stability. And up front, leading the attack, they've got Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Højlund, and then a choice between Antoine Semenyo or Jonathan David. That's a front three with a bit of everything: creativity, physicality, and goals. It's a great mix of attributes. Fernandes is the creative hub, linking the midfield and attack. Højlund gives them a focal point and a physical presence. And then having either Semenyo with his explosiveness or David with his proven goal-scoring ability would give them different options depending on the game. They describe this potential team as young, aggressive, high energy, with fast transitions and high pressing being the key features of classic Amorim football. It's a big change from what we've seen from Manchester United lately. Yeah. So what does a team built on those principles actually look like in practice? So a high-energy, high-pressing team is all about winning the ball back as quickly as possible, high up the pitch. They want to disrupt the opposition's build-up play and create chances closer to the goal. And fast transitions mean that as soon as they win the ball, they're looking to attack quickly before the other team can get organised. It's a style that demands a lot of fitness and tactical discipline from everyone. And they're pretty bold with their prediction. They say that with the right signings and with Amorim's approach, Manchester United could be challenging for the Premier League title in the next 2 to 3 seasons. That's got to be music to the fans' ears. It's definitely ambitious, but it shows the level of belief they have in this project. Obviously, it takes time to implement a new system and integrate new players. But if they get the recruitment right and everyone buys into Amorim's methods, then there's no reason why they can't be competing at the top again soon. So there you have it, a complete deep dive into this potential transformation at Manchester United. It all comes down to a new manager with a clear vision and a willingness to make big changes. It's a fascinating plan. They want to bring in youth pace and a clear style of play. The potential departures show that they're serious about a fresh start, and the players they're targeting suggest Amorim knows exactly what he wants. It's a lot to take in, this idea of rebuilding around young players, the demands of that high-pressing style, and the goal of being title contenders in just a few years. It makes you wonder what the biggest hurdles will be. What do you think? I think the key is going to be how quickly everything comes together. Can the new players gel? Can they adapt to the Premier League? And can they maintain that intensity over a whole season? These are all big questions, but it's definitely an exciting time for Manchester United, and it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. And for our listeners, what do you think is the most crucial element for this rebuild like this to succeed? Who do you think Amorim should bring in and who should leave? Let us know in the comments.